what's going on, everybody? It's Dylan Ross, Save Sports here on Full Press Coverage, Full Press Radio Network. Thank you very much for being here with us. You've got Dylan Sanders at Dilly Sanders on Twitter, and myself, Ross Jackson, at Ross Jackson Nola. And we are using the FPC Fantasy Football graphics today, just for funsies. Just for funsies. Let's do it.
We're not on my screen.
We are on mine. The green at the very top left.
No, there's nothing showing there on my screen.
Very nice. Well, maybe it's not showing anybody else's. But that's all right. I liked it. We wanted to show. I like to have a little shout out to Kyle Senra of FPC Fantasy Football. Does a great job over there. FPC Fantasy Show. Dylan, we're glad to be here with you again today. We had such a fun episode yesterday. How are we going to ruin it today?
Well, Ross, there's a couple plans on how to ruin it today.
What you got?
First off, we got our favorite things from Twitter.
Yep, that always ruins everything.
We also got another casting for Knives Out 2. As we found out yesterday, Dave Bautista got casted. Today, we got Edward Norton joining the cast.
Edward Norton. That name sounds familiar. I'm just joking.
I was going to say, do you not know who Edward Norton is?
I'm joking. No, that's great. That's awesome.
I love Ed Norton. We got everything Twitter. They got that. And then, Ross, today, what we're going to do is we together, me and you, both equally informed, are going to make a 2022 NFL mock draft because the great Pro Football Network PFN 365 mock draft simulator has been updated with the 2022 draft class. So just to celebrate, we are going to have some fun and do a little bit of, planting our flags, Ross.
I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to be so right, so early about everything having to do with the NFL draft.
Right. We're going to get this right, Ross.
Yeah. The last time we did this, we got it completely right.
Every single correct.
Every single one.
Every single correct, Ross.
Every single correct. That's right. That's right.
So we're going to do that today. And then afterwards, Ross, I'm thinking, I might do a little bit of cutting up and upload each pick as like a little thread on Twitter or something like that. So we can have some fun,
Ooh.
vibing, you know how we do. You know how we do, Ross. But yeah, first off, let's get to the favorite things from Twitter, Ross. Do you have a favorite thing from Twitter?
I don't.
Well, I have two things to get us really. First off, I just want to share something that I found, and that I want to give a little shout out, Ross, to myself. Some people might not know, Ross, but I've been on that grind for a long time, Ross.
You really have been.
Early as back as June 4th, 2010, Ross, where I found an old video of me and my friend Garrett's YouTube channel.
Nice.
And Ross, from the start, you can see not much has changed.
This is DG Productions. I'm Dylan. And I'm Garrett. Yes, and here it is. And here we are in Fuel. He is in Fuel using the F2000 red dot. And I will take a little break for 1 second, just real quick. And I failed.
Yeah. So, Ross, I've been on the grind.
You really have been. Wow.
Ross, I've been on the grind, Ross. But no, I found that video. I thought it was hilarious. A little 12-year-old me playing some Call of Duty, trying to commentate over
That's awesome.
it. And my intros have really not changed.
Your
that
intro
much,
is
Ross.
exactly the same.
I always start off really, really like intense. Hello, this is. I always start like that. I still do it to this day.
That's outstanding.
It was fun to see like where the groundwork was laid.
That's right. The foundation upon where the entertainer of Dylan Sanders was built.
And Ross, another one. This is just gonna get us hyped, and I just think it's something that everybody needs to hear. A great story from Teresa Weatherspoon, Ross.
Okay.
Do you know who that is? Do you know who that is? Pelicans assistant.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Amazing.
This should have been my favorite thing from Twitter, actually. Yeah.
Amazing women's basketball player, now coach, and this was a great story shared.
But this is what happened to me. And I go home and I share this with my family. My family said to me, you can become whatever you desire to become. Know your value. I get a chance to play on the 1988 Olympic team. Now, I've been told as an 8th grader, I would never be great playing this game. I get a chance to play on the 1988 Olympic team, and then I'm playing. We're in Seoul, South Korea. I'll never forget it. Seoul, South Korea, and we get back. We win the gold medal, and I'm on the stand. I'm like, oh, God, I'm the youngest. I'm like, whoo, this is awesome. But everybody else is crying. I'm on the stand. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. I'm getting the medal. I get the medal. We get home. I said, Ma, I know I told you everything that I do in this game, that it is yours. But I need this medal for 1 second. I need this for 1 second, Ma. Remember, I'm from a place of 882 people. I don't need a car. I don't need a bicycle, nothing to get to your house. The house is right there. I can touch it. I can touch it. We're so close. So I get home. My mom said, where you going? It's after midnight. She said, where you going? I said, I'll be right back. I'm on a full-out sprint, you guys. You hear me right now. I'm on a full-out sprint. I get to this house. I'm like, boom, 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 boom. It's midnight. So nobody opens the door. I hit it again. So you know how you duck down? And you look up under the door and see if the light's gonna come on? Hey, I saw the lights come on. I said, okay, they coming to the door. Come to the door. That coach that told me as an 8th grader I would never be great, I took that medal off my neck. He opened up the door. I said, bang! Only 12 of the best in the world get this. Only 12. So why did I share that with you? It's because understanding who you are, understanding your value, understanding your worth is so important. You cannot allow one person to tell you who you are and what you cannot become. If you do, you allow them to create your destiny. You can't do that. You can't. It's impossible. Know who you are and get the last laugh. Ha ha, I did.
That's so dope. All that. Bam!
Yeah. Bam!
Have you had a moment like that before where like somebody told you couldn't do something and then you ended up doing it and then you like let them know, hey, I did it?
Yeah, I've done that before. I not too often, but just random stuff. Nothing too crazy. What about you?
I think so. I feel like I remember doing something like that. I didn't have very many. I didn't like most of the people that I talked to about what I wanted to do were like my family, like my mom, for instance, who like whatever I said I wanted to do, my mom was like, great, you're going to do it and you'll be fine. You know what I mean? And so I think I ended up pretty lucky there. I had people that said that I couldn't do stuff, but I didn't care about them and I have no memory of who they are and everything. So I don't think I have the opportunity to go back to those people.
Oh, I've definitely had. Me and Brandon were actually talking about this last night about someone that would come into my DMs randomly and just compare our follower accounts.
Okay.
For whatever reason. I've since then eclipsed them very much, but they now have blocked me, so I can't. So I can't bring it up.
So wait, they would compare follow lists like here's who follows me versus who follows you?
No, it was like amounts. Whenever I hit like 900 followers or something, they were at like 920 or something. And they would like, oh yeah, oh you're getting close to me, you know. And they would like talk about it randomly, like and stuff like that. But I'm just like, well, what is this point? But now I think it would be funny because I don't like this person very much. Now since they did that, they've gotten like, I don't know, 40 or something more followers, and I don't really care, but it's just funny that they started coming at me and they started insulting me and then they stopped growing. I don't know. People are weird.
Yeah.
That's the moral of that
That's
story.
the moral of that story. That is a weird thing. That is a weird thing.
Weirdo behavior.
There's a really great one. Joe Goodberry, who used to work for the Athletic. I don't believe he's still at the Athletic, but covered the Bengals and everything. He was at the Locked On Podcast Network for a little while with Jake Liscow. Now James Rapi in there. But there's a lot of these weird. Oh wow, that's hilarious. Of course it was. But there was this person that would jump in and would talk about like he would send trade proposals to him and just see if he liked the trade proposals or not. Like, I don't know. Let's say that person's favorite team was like the Packers or something like that. He would write to Joe and it'd just be like, all right, what if I sent you Devontae Adams and like, you know, I don't know who was on the team. King, the cornerback that wasn't like super good, but they had some Kevin King. And then you send me, and it was like, you know, like AJ Green and Mackenzie Alexander or something like that. And would just send like trade proposals to him all the time. And Joe would never write back. And then one day, finally, there was one day he would have actually taken. And then he was like, you know, I would actually take this one. And then the guy was like, all right, cool, dope, thanks. And then just kept sending them. So I love the way that people reach out because they do it a variety of different ways. Sometimes they compare their follower accounts to you until you eclipse them and embarrass them to a point to where they just kind of have to go back to their little hidey hole. And then there are other people that just come up with these really creative ways to figure out ways to interact with people on Twitter. I think it's pretty great.
Mm-hmm. Twitter's an interesting place, man. Yeah. All right, Ross. Do you want to get into this 2022 mock draft? Have some fun.
I still want to know if there's like one thing that I've ever done that is like somebody told me I couldn't do it and then I did it and then I went back to them and I was like, hey, buddy, I did it. But I don't think I've ever gone back and been like, hey, I did it. So yeah, sure, let's do it. Maybe I'll remember a story a little bit later or something like that. But I don't think I have anything.
Yeah,
like
we can think about it. We can think about it more during our break. Yeah, no, I'm trying to think if I have anything like that. I probably do at some point. Oh,
whoops.
Oh,
is this you? Is this you rubbing the show in my face, making you big, me small?
Yeah. It's the only way I can feel it now that you're verified.
Oh, right,
you know?
of course.
All right, that went there way too early. But let's get started with this, Ross. Let's see. I'm going to tweet out that we're starting this because, you know, I feel like this is a fun thing.
I like it. 2022 NFL mock draft.
How does it feel, Ross? How does it feel? You know, the real draft was 10 days ago, and now I'm already bored of it, and I'm moving on.
Oh, man.
Already bored of that class. Months and months of preparation. Bored. Now I'm here.
The draft is kind of like preparing an elaborate dinner, isn't it? It's where like you spend hours and hours and hours, in some cases days, to get your dinner prepared, and then it takes like 20 minutes to eat it all.
Mm-hmm.
And so you do like months and months and months of NFL draft prep, and then the draft happens over the course of 3 days. For most people, the draft happens over the course of 2 days. And that's it. You're out.
Mm-hmm. And before we start this, actually, Ross, I want to say something. Listen, this is going to be a largely uninformed mock draft. Just going to say it. We're here for fun. I don't know that much about these players, but you know, I figured it was a fun thing to do and a fun thing to talk about. So that's what we're doing today.
I love it.
I'm not by the end of probably next month, whenever I watch any of these players, I'm going to be like, oh, well, that was a terrible decision. But this is based off of what I know of them right now, because I think it'll be fun. All right. That's what I just wanted to set a precursor real quick.
I love it.
But let's get into it. Let's do it. I like the picture in picture.
Like
all right. First overall, this is, and of course we did not set this mock draft.
Right. And the order by which the teams are set here in terms of their drafting order is usually based upon Vegas odds. These are not like our decisions based upon where we think teams are going to finish.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And first overall, Ross, the Detroit Lions. And in this situation, you have to imagine that they're going quarterback, right? It's got to be, if they're picking first overall, Jared Goff was an absolute mess.
Yes, exactly right.
maybe not completely his fault. This is maybe one of those teams where I could see them maybe passing up on a quarterback first overall, getting a Kayvon Thibodeau. But I feel like they probably go quarterback. And Russ, this is while we're here talking about the first quarterback off the board. I'm sure you've read about it. This is a weird quarterback
Very
class.
weird.
Whereas we don't really know what's going to happen. We don't know who's going to be quarterback 1 through 5.
Right.
Really,
Right.
like there could be any situation. I'm talking Spencer Rattler, Sam Howell, Malik Willis, Desmond Ridder, Keaton Slovis, Matt Corral, Carson Strong, Jaden Daniels, JT Daniels. Could all end up in the top 5.
Right. And then you're going to have your riser. That's going to be somebody out of nowhere, like it happens every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in this situation, Ross, I have the Detroit Lions going Spencer Rattler.
It works for me. As of right now, he's the Heisman favorite. The expectation at the moment is that he or Sam Howell will be QB1, right? In terms of the expectation. And then we'll have to see what the reality ends up being. But yeah, I would go with Spencer Rattler to start.
And Spencer Rattler, Ross, I will say this: he's been up and down, but I think he does have the best arm out of any of the recent Oklahoma quarterbacks. And there's something to that. Oklahoma's had a good run of quarterbacks.
Yeah, they really have. They really have.
And then, of course, second overall, Houston Texans. They're obviously, if they finish second overall, that means a certain person did not play for them. And so they're going to be drafting quarterback. And with that one, I think
Are they?
I think they go with
I think they go Kayvon Thibodeau.
No, I think they go quarterback, Ross. I think they do. Why you think they're going to run it? Because that means they ran it with Davis Mills this year.
That means they ran it with Davis Mills before he was ready. Yeah, 17 games of college experience, and then you get him into the NFL immediately. Like, I think it's a little early.
And you're not going to act like this team is going to overreact. Do you realize what front office we're dealing with? I think
that's
they go.
fair.
I think they go Sam Howell.
That's fair. I mean, this front office.
I think that they're going to overreact. I think they're going to overreact and go Sam Howell.
Can we agree that the smarter decision would be to go with Kayvon Thibodeau here, get somebody?
I think the smarter decision would have been Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yeah, that's fair too.
But in this mock draft, I'm not going to. I'm going to go based off of what happened in last year's draft and this year, and try and use these front offices against themselves, or try and think in the brain of what they would do.
All right. That sounds good. Well,
and we're going to get to that being shown majorly in a second year, because I think Jacksonville, they obviously go.
Yeah. This is a dream come true for Jacksonville. That's a dream come true for Jacksonville.
Getting the best player in the draft, potentially at number 3. I think it's Spencer Rattler, Sam Howell. I think there are going to be 2 quarterbacks taken if it's Detroit and Houston. I really think Houston goes quarterback if they end up picking this early, which they will. And then the Eagles, Ross.
Oh, this is great
again
for them.
Yes, great for them. Derek Stingley drops. Evan Neal is there, but Ross again. We know how quick Philadelphia, how short Jalen Hurts' leash is, because they were already thinking about keeping Carson. They're not sold on Jalen Hurts, I don't think.
And they're picking 4th overall here.
If they're picking 4th overall, that means it was a terrible year, and they're going to get scared. And then that leads you to think, do they pick Malik Willis? Do they pick Desmond Ridder? Do they pick Keaton Slovis? I think if it's Philadelphia Eagles pick, I think the quarterback that most fits them, and I think he's going to rise a lot this year, it's going to be Matt Corral.
Oh, interesting. I was thinking, okay, Matt Corral makes perfect sense to me. I was thinking Keaton Slovis, though, as being like the overcorrection and getting pretty far away from Jalen Hurts and all. But Matt Corral makes sense, because then you get a little bit more mobility back.
I think that
Carson Wentz.
I think Matt Corral is like the perfect middle ground between Jalen Hurts and Keaton Slovis. I don't think they go Malik Willis, even if Malik Willis is the better choice. I think he's too mobile maybe for them. If they're scared, I think they go a little bit back, and then they go Matt Corral, who I think is going to have a
all right. Let's do it. Oh well, this makes this simple right here. Ohio, Cincinnati. I mean, okay, but here's the question. Because for me, this feels like this is Derek Stingley Jr. They love their LSU players in Cincinnati. They love them. Absolutely. They're just working on rebuilding the 2019 championship team right now, is what they've been focused on.
Yes.
But wouldn't the smarter decision be Evan Neal?
Evan Neal would be 100% the smarter decision. He'll come in. He's played right tackle. He's played guard and right tackle, I believe, at Alabama, and he's probably going to play left tackle this year. He's played all over, and he's supposed to be the guy. He's also a humongous human being, if I remember correctly. Evan Neal is 6'7", 360, and has played everywhere on the line.
Imagine being 360 pounds and playing tackle. Like, that's pretty wildly impressive. But now here's the thing. We know that that's the right choice, but has Cincinnati proven that they will not make the right choice enough that we say, nah, it's Derek Stingley?
I feel like is Derek Stingley the right choice here? I think he is.
Let's do it. I think Evan Neal is the right choice.
I think Evan Neal is the right choice, but is Derek Stingley? Do we go them picking 3 players from the 2019 NCAA National Championship LSU team in 3 years in a row?
Yes,
I'm down.
They love their
man.
Tigers. They love their Tigers. Like, this is not a mystery at all.
All right, and then that leads us to the New York Jets, who I think I could see them playing if they draft an Evan Neal. I could see them playing him at right tackle. If he can play anywhere. But
it's not a bad pair of bookends to have.
Mekhi Becton, man, talk about a humongous offensive line with Mekhi Becton and Evan Neal being your bookends.
You have a brand new shiny commodity at quarterback who clearly struggled his first year. Maybe offensive line is the right place to go there. And
in this case, the 2 best right tackle options would be Evan Neal and Abraham Lucas. But I go Evan Neal in this case, right?
Sure. Works for me because he also has the size that you can move him into guard if you want to. Be a little tall for the position, but he's got the size for it, the frame for it.
All right, the Giants with their first pick of the first round. Shout out to the Giants. Shout out to Dave Gettleman.
Shout out Dave Gettleman. He's going to trade down every selection in the 2022 NFL draft.
Yeah, once he did it once, and now he's just never going to stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Now the question is, Ross, if they're picking at 7, do they give up on Daniel Jones? Do you think they do? Yeah,
because you look at the free agents that they signed this season, a lot of them on the offensive side, 2-year contracts. So going into 2022 would be the end of some contracts like Kenny Galladay and stuff like that. So this gives them an opportunity to get a new quarterback in. If they don't get somebody in free agency, get a new quarterback in with a bunch of weapons around them.
And so that means, Ross, but I think they want to keep the style of play that Daniel Jones brings, right?
Do it.
Have a fun offense. Malik Willis at 7 to the New York Giants.
Yeah. He's got the composure to handle New York media too. He'd be a lot of fun to watch in that market.
He's been all over the place. He's really good. Great for a 4th quarterback taken, you know? And the Atlanta Falcons, Ross, I think this is the easiest choice of all time for them. And I really hate to say it, but it's Kyle Hamilton. How much do you know about Kyle Hamilton,
Very little.
Ross? All right, he is a 6'4", 205-pound safety who can pretty much do it all. He's basically like a bigger Javon Holland, I would say.
Boy, yeah.
Bigger and I would say better than Javon Holland. He's gonna be awesome this year in Notre Dame, and I think that he's gonna. My only hesitation with that one would have been, are we going to see safeties start to be like running backs and start falling? But with a player like Kyle Hamilton, I think that he is one of the special cases where he does go top 10 just because he's incredible and he's so big. I think I was going to say, Ross, if I didn't go Matt Corral at 4, I would have gone Kyle Hamilton for Philadelphia because I think they go him over a cornerback in Derek Stingley.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if his because he's going to get tweener conversation at that size. That's going to be conversation no matter what, right? Him playing in the box, things like that. It'll be interesting.
He's 6'4", He's 6'4", 220, but plays like a 6'1", 200-pound safety.
Right. So it'll be interesting just to see what that ends up being for him. But safety in top 10, woof, that's a lot. So we'll see. My only question is who's the quarterback in Atlanta at this point? Because if Matt Ryan has come back with Kyle Pitts, Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, an offensive line that's in pretty good shape, Hunter Henry, and you're still picking 8th overall, who's your quarterback here? Because I don't think you can be very comfortable with Matt Ryan anymore if that's a decline situation. Now, it could be an injury, could be that the defense didn't hold up, so here they are improving the defense and trying to extend Matt Ryan that way, much like you could look at New Orleans with the Saints. You could look at Denver with Peyton Manning New Orleans with Drew Brees, Denver with Peyton Manning, to where they built the vehicle around the quarterback as opposed to relying on the quarterback to drive the vehicle. So this could be an example of that, but I would be really interested to see what led to Atlanta picking at number 8 overall here.
I would say I feel like Atlanta, Terry Fontenot, they might be one to trade or sign for one of these other teams' quarterbacks. Sure. Like a Drew Lock or something.
Aaron Rodgers, yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers, something like that.
No, but speaking of Aaron Rodgers, where Aaron Rodgers is actually going to end up is Denver.
Well, not if they're picking number 9. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's after this season. I think it's after this season that he gets traded.
And Denver, Ross, at this point, I think that they go Christian Harris.
I like that. This team's always had a good defense. They always focus in on defense. That makes a lot of sense to me.
And they get that next big do-it-all safety from Alabama. I mean, linebacker from Alabama there in the middle. Do you want to go to break real quick, or do you want to pick? Let's finish the top 10 and then go.
I want to finish top 10 because New York getting 2 top 10 selections here is pretty great.
And with their second one, Ross, I have them going. This is okay, Ross. I'm going to be real. This might be this year's my guy.
Okay.
That I really like. I really like. But I could see falling into like this mid first round area. It's gonna be Drake Jackson.
That'd be such a good get for them because they've really been trying to build that pass rush. Guys like O'Shane Jimenez and other folks that they've invested in. They just took Azeez Ojulari in this last draft. So I could see them continuing to focus on the edge rushing position, the trenches, the hog mollies, as Gettleman would say. I think that's a great selection for them.
And he's like the guy. He's so funny. He has the athleticism of a linebacker, but has the power and the moves and the strength of a defensive tackle, and then the size of an edge rusher. So he's got it all. I think he's going to kill it this year at USC, and he could also really work himself into a top 5 pick. I think.
You got to love those high value positions like that where you have the opportunity to do that. Coming up next, we'll round out the final 22 selections of our 2022. See what we did there. NFL mock draft. We'll have that coming up for you here as we return. Dylan and Ross Day Sports Full Press coverage, Full Press Radio Network. All right, break time.
Ross, have you thought any more about a situation where you were like, oh
yeah, no, not really. I had one that was like all in one moment. Megan and I were at a family, like it was like a holiday thing, like a Thanksgiving or something like that. I can't remember. And there was somebody that was there that asked us like what we did for a living. And at the time we were both working in theater. It was before I had started working in sports and stuff. And so we had, mentioned that we were working in theater and we worked in the entertainment industry. Megan, an actor, myself, a stage manager, and we've both worked very successfully in the industry. And, had careers out of it as opposed to what this person assumed was merely a hobby. And so we were in the midst of kind of explaining like what it is that we do and everything. And she was like, oh, that's really great. But like, what do you like do for work and everything? And then we were like, no, like we work in theater. We work in the entertainment industry. She is an actor. He is a stage manager. This is what we do for a living and how we like support ourselves and stuff. And then she just like went into this whole kind of like weird understanding or misunderstanding that like we were just these starving artists and that we had no money and all this other stuff and everything. And so I think that like just being able to like kind of tell her off at one point was maybe the closest that I've come to being able to like go back at somebody and say, bam, you know, and then show them the thing. Because usually like if people have told me, because I've had many people doubt over time that I would do the things that I wanted to do, but I just didn't associate with them anymore. I just moved on from them and everything. So I never had the opportunity to go back to them and say, bam, you know, here's this thing. But that would probably be the closest that I can think of.
I had this one time where this is not that large of scale as yours, but someone, we were making plans for Halloween, and someone was like, "Oh, I bet you can't go to the 13th gate, Ross." And I didn't do that. I didn't go to the 13th gate because I was too scared.
That was a moment where you went back and then you said you were right. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, you got that.
You're right.
You got
right.
that.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. You called that one.
Hilarious.
You called that one.
That's hilarious.
What is the? What is this? What is this name of this article?
Ooh. What is?
So you know, Colt Brennan died.
Mm-hmm.
The Atlanta Journal-Constitution named the article "Quarterback Georgia defeated 2008 Sugar Bowl has died."
Wait, say that one more time. How did they title it?
They titled it "Quarterback Georgia defeated in 2008 Sugar Bowl has
Yikes.
died."
That's not great.
Oh my God! 6 retweets, 16 likes, 977 quote tweets on this one.
Whoa.
An all-time ratio. Yeesh. And they just deleted the tweet.
Yike. All right, here we go. You ready?
Yeah, no.
All right, everybody. We are back. Dylan and Ross say Sports Full Press coverage, Full Press Radio Network. Continuing on with today's episode with our 2022 NFL mock draft. Some might call it way too early. We call it way too right. Go ahead, Dylan. Continue on with us here. We're at pick number 11, Washington Foosball Team.
This is another team, Ross. We're going to get another quarterback off the board.
Oh, is it time?
With Washington coming up,
Uh-huh.
Ross. And you know what, Ross? I think Washington goes JT Daniels out of Georgia.
I was not expecting that.
That's not the one that we expected, but it's the Washington pick, I think. JT Daniels is a guy. You know what, Ross? I think I'm just out on USC quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm going to tell you right now, we're not done with this. I'm not going to have Keaton Slovis in the first round. I'm out on USC quarterbacks. And I don't care if I'm wrong. I don't care if he's the first quarterback selected. I'm just out on USC.
I thought you hated when people did that. When people are like, I'm not drafting that player because of the school they went to.
Except for USC quarterbacks, I think, Russ. No, I do hate it. I'm just not big on Keaton Slovis. I'm gonna be real. I think it's more of a fact that I really just haven't. I won't hate a quarterback because they go to USC. I'm not going to doubt them because they're at USC. But it's been a consistent thing where I just have never been sold on a USC quarterback, and it's not because of their team. I think it might be the system at USC. It might be all of that. I love their defensive players. I like their skill position players. I'm just never in on their quarterbacks. And they just can't seem to get one I like. And Keaton Slovis is following in that, and I'm just not a big fan of his. JT Daniels, I think, is going to rise a lot this year at Georgia. I think it's going to be a big SEC year, if I'm being real, which it is every year. But I think this year in particular is going to be a lot of talent in the SEC, and I think teams are going to look to that. And I think JT Daniels is going to be a big riser.
I like it. I know you're very high on Jaden Daniels.
Yes, he's also a quarterback. I'm not going to pick in the first round here because I think he goes back to college. If I had to pick, I think he either goes back to college or gets picked in the second round, and it is a developmental.
Okay, gotcha. Because I was kind of wondering if this might be where you thought about Jaden Daniels as opposed to Jaden.
I like the fit. I like the fit.
Like if
JT Daniels.
If Washington football team really liked Trey Lance, then Jaden Daniels makes a lot of sense too.
Desmond Ridder makes a lot of sense too.
Yeah. Who we're both very high on.
I think
as well.
that yes, but I think it's going to be. I think that by the end of next year, I think it's going to be JT Daniels.
I like it.
That goes here. I also like their fit here. I think he's much more. He's going to be much more of a Ryan Fitzpatrick, Taylor Heineke type quarterback, and I think that they could see some success in that offense this year, maybe, and kind of like that role, and want to see someone that can immediately come in and fill that, and that may be more of a JT Daniels.
My definite hope for JT Daniels is that they draft him here. Like if they draft him here, that Ryan Fitzpatrick sticks around for another season, and he gets to work.
And it's also funny that as I'm saying I'm out on USC quarterbacks, I draft a former USC quarterback at pick 11.
Former,
but he was smart. He was smart enough to leave.
And he played in the SEC too, real football. So let's get it.
Real football, you know what I'm saying? I hate the Pac-12. That is a lie. And Ross, here we have the first wide receiver taken off the board, I think. And it is one Mr. Treylin Burks out of Arkansas.
Oh, Treylin Burks is gonna be so good, man.
And Ross, I'm gonna say three things that makes him a Las Vegas Raider. A future Las Vegas Raider. 6'3". 225. 4.4 speed.
He's Tyrell Williams. Tyrell Williams, but better.
he's a better Tyrell Williams. Great hands. He's going to be so much fun to watch, and I cannot wait for him to go from a bad quarterback at Arkansas to a bad quarterback in Las Vegas.
Hey, but at least an opportunity for something to go right there.
Yeah, no, I think Treylin Burks there makes a lot of sense. And Ross, here's one where I'm going to pick one guy ahead of a lot of people.
Zion Nelson.
Further down.
Oh, further down. Nick Broeker?
It's going to be Abraham Lucas.
All right. Well, I should have said who I felt like saying.
Now, they have Brady Christensen, Ross. Left tackle, right? He's going to play left tackle for them. Now, what do they need other than that? A right tackle. And
a couple of guards.
I think at 13, I think if they pick in 13, they're giving Sam Darnold another year.
Yeah.
If they're picking middle of the first round, giving Sam Darnold another year, and also give him another protection because Abraham Lucas, I think, is the best pass blocking right tackle in college football. So, and I think he's going to be another big riser. Shout out Wazoo. I think he's going to be a big riser this year. Because even though what I just said, how I hate Pac-12 football, that's actually a lie.
You love Pac-12. Like Pac-12 after dark. You love Pac-12.
I love Pac-12 football because it fits my sleep schedule. I'm just a big fan of Abraham Lucas, and I think he's going to go high, and I think he fits this Carolina offense a lot.
Now we'll go back to the Minnesota Vikings for the second year in a row, picking up pick 14.
And I think that they also go out of CV here. Is it weird to say that I think Garrett Wilson goes for Chris Olave, even though I think Chris Olave is better?
No. I mean, if he's going to be a better fit for Minnesota, that's what really matters. And Chris Olave and Justin Jefferson kind of serve the same role. in a way. Garrett Wilson kind of has a little bit of a different feel to him than what Justin Jefferson serves as a deep threat at this point. Although Garrett Wilson can also do that. But yeah, no, I think Garrett Wilson goes first out of those two receivers. I think he just fits more schemes than Chris Olave does.
There's also the age factor that some teams might take into account when drafting in the first round. I just think Garrett Wilson probably ends up going first. But they also could go defensive, continue to build up that edge rush.
I could see that.
I could see a George Karlaftis.
That's kind of where I was leaning, was them continuing to focus on the...
Patrick Jones II is going to be a good rotational piece.
But they didn't really get to address edge rusher in terms of a starter.
Like a real cornerstone kind of guy, and I think George Karlaftis across from Danielle Hunter would be really, really good.
I like that a lot. That's kind of where I was leaning.
All right, well, let's do it.
Yeah, buddy.
Let's go George Karlaftis. Now over at Arizona, they need offensive line, but are they really going to draft? Are they going to do it?
I would see them going corner also would make sense. Because
again,
I think that's a spot where they'll still need some help next season.
They got a bunch of developmental pieces and stuff like that. They could go with a Seven Banks, Khair Elam, Ahmad Gardner, maybe Sauce Gardner.
I was thinking Seven Banks.
Let's go Seven Banks.
Boop.
And then Ross, here we go. This is where it happens. At pick 16, Pittsburgh Steelers, they go Desmond Ridder.
I like that. Hopefully he gets.
I think Desmond.
Hopefully that's as Large Benjamin is leaving, as opposed to
he could come in and run this offense. Russ, you know what I'm feeling a sense of urgency to do in Pittsburgh. Develop the run game, and I think. As far as run games go, Desmond Ridder is the best quarterback to handle a run-first offense. Yeah, in that
he can also contribute to it.
Yeah. Yes.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like the fit of Desmond Ridder to Pittsburgh a lot. And now I think that'll be the last quarterback that goes in the first round. 1, 2, 3, 4,
5, right?
5, 6.
Wow. There are a lot of quarterbacks in this class. It's just such an amalgamation. We don't know who's gonna be at the top.
17. Now, Ross, this just makes too much sense. Chris Olave to the
New England Patriots. It makes perfect sense. Chris Olave, Mac Jones. That's gonna be really good.
Yep. Now here's one. Los Angeles Chargers. They've addressed a lot of needs, Ross.
They really did. They had a nice.
They've addressed a lot of needs.
And off-season period.
Yeah, and they got Chris Harris coming in. I'm trying to think. They could, in terms of a guy that I think is going to go earlier than some people might have him, like top 2, late first. As a nickel corner, be Tre'Vius Hodges Tomlinson. I like him a lot as a nickel corner, but I wouldn't go him here.
Yeah, I don't think you go him in the first.
But I was thinking Jalen Weidermeyer here.
Okay.
Add to that offense. Add to that pass offense.
That could be really interesting.
They have Jared Cook there. They have Trey McKitty, but again. Adding more pieces to that offense never hurts, and I think it's Jalen Weidermeyer.
And you run the risk of Jared Cook retiring after the season and everything. He's gonna be 35 by the end of the year, all that. So, or by the time that you were to get around to the next season, he would be 35. So, this makes sense.
Dallas Cowboys. What do you think they address here?
I could see them going maybe edge rusher.
Edge, yeah. They don't really have.
They didn't really get to address.
That's the one thing on their offense they didn't really address in the draft. They could go Zach Harrison. Aiden Hutchinson's a choice here. Kingsley or JJ Inagbare, wherever he goes by. choose to go by?
Um,
I know JJ's a nickname, but I see him listed as Kingsley a lot.
Aiden Hutchinson, I think, would be a really good fit for them, but I know Zach Harrison's gonna be a first rounder at this point. I mean, let me not say I know he's gonna be a first rounder, but he seems like the more surefire first rounder at this time.
I'm thinking of who are their Brent Urban and DeMarcus Lawrence are going to be their edge rushers this year.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I think if they want to stay in that lane, it would be Aiden Hutchinson
right?
maybe.
Yeah, I think he's the best fit. I think he's the best fit out of the edge rushers that are available.
Boom. I'm down with it. And then Philadelphia with their second pick, Matt Corral as their first pick. Is this a Kyer Elam?
Yeah, man. If they have the opportunity to address both to address the quarterback position and get a starting corner in the first round, that's fantastic for them.
Because who knows how long Darius Slay is going to be their number one guy in the secondary. Kyer Elam.
I love it. Boom. That's great for them.
This could be another edge. This could be where Zach Harrison
This would make
goes.
a lot of sense. Tennessee still needs a lot of help at the edge rusher position. They thought maybe they were going to get it with Weaver, but we don't know what's going to happen with Weaver and his future in the NFL at this time and everything. So assuming that things don't go well there or don't assuming things don't, yeah, I guess that's fine to say. Assuming things don't go well in terms of that whole situation, then Zach Harrison would make a lot of sense. And maybe even anyway, Zach Harrison would still make a lot of sense.
I think either way they go either Zach or Kingsley. Let's go Zach. Yeah, let's go Zach. And here, I think either Zion Nelson or Rasheed Walker. I like them both.
Either
a lot.
would be outstanding for them.
I'm thinking of Fitz, and I think Rasheed Walker might fit a little bit more. I think they're both really good. Or even Charles Cross. Any of these three would be really, really good. I think that I like Rasheed Walker a little bit more than Zion Nelson.
Yeah, let's do it.
Now the Jets, they went with Evan Neal to start. Where could they go?
Now they can kind of take their pick and really just address whatever. I mean, who are some of the top linebackers that are available right now?
Ventrell Miller and Owen Popo. I like them both a lot. They both could easily be first rounders. They're both athletic coverage guys. I think that going into it, I think I like Owen Popo a lot.
I think maybe this is where they could go. They lost Neville Hewitt this offseason, who was their coverage linebacker. They're still looking for some help over there. CJ Mosley, you know what I mean? Like, they're still looking for some help over on that defensive side.
And Owen Popo kind of, I think, fits. He's a little bit smaller. He's fast. He does a little bit of everything.
So he could be a little Jamal.
I think
Adams-y.
if they want pure coverage, I think Ventrell Miller is the choice here, based off of what I know about them. But I think Owen Popo might be fitting a role like a CJ Mosley, eventually taking over for Jared Davis, maybe.
Yeah, I like that fit.
I think Popo's here. All right, and Ross, here's one that I have had pegged from the start. DeMarvin Leal, I think, is going to end up being a New Orleans Saint.
Look, you got to go offensive line or defensive line in the first round for the Saints. Here they are picking at 24. DeMarvin Leal would be fantastic. I mean, like, all the excitement we had about Christian Barmore would just be transferred to the idea of Marvin Leal with the Saints.
I was gonna say, Ross, I feel like by the end of next year, you're gonna fall in love with the idea of DeMarvin Leal being.
I'm kind of already in love with the idea. I'm excited to watch him more, but I am familiar with his.
I truly think you're gonna love watching more DeMarvin Leal.
Let's do that.
Watching him, I thought of you, and I think it's gonna fit that Christian Barmore role very. What we wanted, I would have been perfect. I would have been ecstatic to get to get Christian Barmore in the first or anything like that, you know. Yeah. And I think this just fits that, and it's even another year, another need, and building those trenches.
I love it.
Here's where I had Kingsley going, JJ and Nagbari going. another edge rusher guy. Kind of, we thought maybe they were going to go Azeez Ojulari at some point, another edge rusher. So this could kind of be that where they didn't really address it. They addressed it short term, but not really long term. On the edge, right?
Yeah.
So I think that they could go Kingsley here. And this is just a pick of your litter, really.
Shout out Dolphins picking 26 overall here. Nice little run in the playoffs. Bubba Bolden. Get them another save. Well, they don't really need it anymore because they've got Javon Holland now.
Yeah, they've got Javon Holland.
Do they go with Garrett Wilson? Get another wide receiver?
Ross, I was thinking, as much as we don't like to talk about it, if there's a team that can afford to do it in this draft,
go running back in the
it's
first
Miami,
round.
And they could go Breece Hall.
That would be
or
either
Kyron Williams or Isaiah Spiller. But I think as of right now, my number one running back is Breece Hall.
Let's do it. They have the freedom to do it. They could have done it this year, honestly.
And look at him.
Look at him.
Oh my! And look at him. Look at him selections, man. And you know what? Let's see how much look at the Giants. Look at the Giants.
Let's look at Philly. Look at Philly real quick. 'Cause Philly should be balling out of control too, right? Yeah.
Oh my God! They got 5 picks in the top 70.
That's pretty great.
I mean, hey, I'll take it. Lions doing a little bit of balling.
Yeah, they're balling too. Let them go. All right, next we have the Baltimore Ravens, who addressed a couple of good positions here in this last draft. It's another opportunity where they could really just kind of go wherever they want with it.
They could go. Ravens are always the team that just go best player available. Really, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
But the best player available is Garrett Wilson. Do they need Garrett Wilson?
I think maybe they go offensive line. I mean, they could go that route. They could go running back.
Tyler Linderbaum at this point
could be very nice.
Or Alec Lindstrom or Jarrett Patterson. I think right now my best center is Tyler Linderbaum, and I think that's their weakest point on the offensive line.
This is a team that understands the value of a good center too.
Okay, now this is just
too simple.
They just lucked out. They lucked out.
Look at this. They get
Garrett Wilson,
their quarterback and a weapon right away.
Yeah, this is working out great for them. Green Bay at this point
looking for another. This could be the 7th quarterback in the first round.
No, I feel like they have to. They have to go. They have to give Jordan Love a year whenever Aaron Rodgers leaves, right?
Yeah. What if they gave it?
This could be a Ventrell. This could be a Ventrell Miller pick.
Yeah. Because I feel like they would continue to do what they've always done, which is build over on the defensive side of the ball. I don't think they're going to change and all of a sudden start giving Jordan Love weapons when they wouldn't give them to Aaron Rodgers. It just depends on. Like if Aaron Rodgers leaves, who leaves with him. You know what I mean? But assuming all things are equal, Ventrell Miller would make a lot of sense, and it feels like a Green Bay Packers selection.
Because who do they have now? Chris Barnes and Oren Burks.
And Oren Burks is hardly, he's more of that hybrid conversation.
Yeah, I think Ventrell Miller's the pick here. I'm trying to think.
Buffalo Bills here.
Buffalo Bills, Ross, you know what they want to do? They want to build those trenches, Ross. Because they have Ed Oliver, they have their guys. I think another defensive tackle that fits them a lot is Chris Hinton out of Michigan, who I think is going to be another big riser and work himself into first-round conversation.
Michigan's going to have a very nice defensive line this year in college football. Very nice defensive line.
Tampa Bay, Ross. We got Sauce Gardner. We got Andrew Booth. We got Josh Joby. But I think I'm gonna, you know what, Ross? I'm gonna go and I'm gonna, do a little call in my shot, Ross. Okay. I'm gonna call my shot a guy that's gonna work himself up in the cornerback conversation. You know, I like to do this. Right? You know, I like to plant my flag early into some guys, Ross. And you know what Tampa Bay loves?
What?
Former star NFL players' sons.
This is true.
So why not go over to Penn State and take Joey Porter
Let's do it.
Jr., who I like a lot, Ross, and I think you might like a lot. You know, he's 6'2", 190, you know, gaining a little weight, aggressive. He plays kind of like his dad, but as a cornerback. And I like a lot. He has great ball skills, great at breaking up the pass. You know, I think that with it in a big, what I think is going to be a big year for Penn State. I think Joey Porter is going to shine in the spotlight. Another big year for the Big Ten, and I think he's going to work himself up into the first round conversation. I like him a lot.
Great tandem, him and Carlton Davis.
He kind of fits into that Paulson Debo, Jalen Johnson kind of mold, where he's really good at everything, but what people might say where he needs to work on is maybe his footwork or something like that. Or the fine minutia, but he's really good at he's the kind of cornerback I like. Yeah. A lot, and I like Joey Porter Jr. I think that he's going to have a big year, and then that leaves us. It is blocked by your name. By my name, but at 32, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. And again, they can go wherever they want, but I think. They don't need anything.
Bubba Bolden would be so good with them, though, and I don't know what they're going to do at safety after this year.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Could Bubba Bolden play that free safety role? He's kind of bigger.
That's true. He is a little bit more box.
I don't think he's the kind of safety that they need. Although he'd be a really good player there.
Justin Ross could be potentially interesting there. Give them another wide receiver. I know that they have invested this offseason.
I don't think Justin Ross goes maybe in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, just injury history.
Yeah. I think that he's going to be one of those guys that's going to fall very hard. But everyone really likes.
Here's what happens then. Talk about guys you want to plant your flag for. David Bell out of Purdue to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Let's do it. I'm all for it, man.
Electrifying, man.
I love me some David Bell. You know that. So yeah, overall, Ross, what you think?
I like it. I can't wait for us to go 32 of 32. For no one to make any trades, no one to move at all in the first round. That this is just exactly the way that it falls.
Sorry, folks. I just ruined your first round, your first day of the draft. You
already know what's going to happen. You already know. So, but that's why you're here. That's why you come here and check out Dylan and Ross Say Sports every Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time here in Full Press Coverage, Full Press Radio Network.
What time is it in Central?
4 p.m. Central. 4 p.m. Central.
What about?
Don't know. Can't think that far.
What about Pacific
Never
time?
Been there. Not sure.
What about Central Time?
I said that one already.
What about Eastern?
Anything else before we wrap up for today?
Greenwich Mountain Time. Go Tigers.
Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you being here for our 2022 NFL Mock Draft. Way too early, more like way too correct. We'll be back tomorrow with more fun and games and sports.
Oh, and Ross, and we're starting. I'm gonna give a shout out. We're starting off tomorrow's show with our East Coast correspondent.
Sarah's coming back. We're gonna have a fun day tomorrow, so we'll be here 5 p.m. Eastern Time.
Baseball show tomorrow.
Talking all about it. Appreciate everybody for coming through. We also have the NFL schedule release to look ahead to tomorrow as well. We'll see. Get to talk some leaks that are probably inaccurate. It's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks very much, everybody, for coming through as we save sports for another day. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Y'all take care.